Hi there, this is OBN Horn of Africa, live from Adama. I'm Lata Teresa with the news of the hour, the headlines. Military strength is pillar of Ethiopia's economic transformation. Also headlines, Green Legacy Model for combating climate change and ensuring food security. Welcome back. Now news in brief. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has underscored that maintaining peace remains the fundamental mission of Ethiopia's security institutions, emphasizing their irrepressible role in ensuring the country's stability and prosperity. In a message shared on his official media page, this morning, the Prime Minister announced the conclusion of discussions he presided over with the leaders of the country's security institutions. PM Abiy disclosed reviewed institutional responsibilities in protecting peace, combating crime, and strengthening public trust. The discussions highlighted that lasting peace must be guaranteed by curbing crimes such as organized conspiracies, urban and rural banditry, smuggling, corruption, and illicit trafficking of people and money. The Prime Minister stressed that the free movement of citizens and goods is indispensable for Ethiopia's prosperity, calling for systematic measures to eliminate blockades, robberies, and other disruptions. Participants also emphasized the need for closer collaboration between security forces and local communities in safeguarding major infrastructure, mining sites, industries, residential areas, and public utilities. The meeting concluded that this grassroots capacity should be further strengthened through training and sustained engagement, the Premier confirmed. Now news in detail. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has underlined the critical role of military capability in safeguarding Ethiopia's economic progress, stressing that sustainable prosperity requires a strong defense foundation. The Premier made the remarks during his visit yesterday to the Aero Abai drone manufacturing facility, where he inspected the country's growing technological capacity in defense production. Shetu Opsi has more on that.
Speaking during Aero by drone manufacturing facility, Prime Minister Abiy stated that a nation wants to ensure prosperity needs to think about military capability. The Premier said that countries like Ethiopia, unless they develop with their military capabilities, their economy can be damaged due to lack of military power.
የኢትዮጵያ ብልጽግና እውን የሚሆን ጉዳይ ስለሆነ የኢትዮጵያ መለወጥ የማያጠራጥር ሀቅ ስለሆነ
As Ethiopia's prosperity will be quite sure and Ethiopia's transformation is inevitable, we need a just over economic move with military capability. When our economy rises up, sometimes forward and our military capability grows, culture, language and music cultivation works will be done.
Highlighting Ethiopia's reform-driven economic transformation, Abiy stated that the nation has already recorded substantial achievements in agriculture, industry, technology, tourism and mining. However, such gains must be reinforced by robust military power to ensure long-term stability and prosperity.
አጥፍተው የሚጠፉ ድሮኖች በከፍተኛ ቁጥር እያመረትን እንገኛለን። እነዚያ ድሮኖች
We're producing UAV drones largely. These drones, if there is a war in a swarm form, they can damage enemy as we see in developed nations. The second one is small size UAV that can be used for surveillance.
The Premier underscores that Ethiopia is producing commercial drones. He pointed out that before a couple of years, it was quite challenging to purchase UAV drones.
ገዝተን መጠቀም ከቻልን በኋላ በተለያየ ደረጃ ማምረት
After we began to purchase and utilize UAV, we began to produce it. We are producing large number of drones for commercial, surveillance and operation purpose. These are going to be tools used to maintain Ethiopia's prosperity in case a problem that challenges Ethiopia's sovereignty comes.
Abiy emphasized that the works being done on technological development are amazing and promising.
Unlike the Gregorian calendar, which most of the world follows, the Ethiopian calendar has its own unique structure and significance.
The Ethiopian calendar consists of 13 months, 12 months of 30 days each, an additional month, Agme, which has 5 days in a common year and 6 days in a leap year.
One of the most notable differences is that the Ethiopian calendar is 7 to 8 years behind the Gregorian calendar.
Whether you're planning or just curious, embracing this calendar gives you a deep connection to the Ethiopian way of life.
Happy Ethiopian New Year!
The Ethiopian New Year, known as Enqutatash,
Falls on September 11.
or September 12 in a leap year.
This day is celebrated with
Family gatherings,
feasting and traditional music.
join us as we celebrate the people and places that make our community unique.
At OBN Horn of Africa, we are more than just a station. We are part of your community.
OBN Horn of Africa, voice for the people. Stay tuned, stay connected to OBN Horn of Africa. OBN, voice for the people.
Welcome back. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has urged Ethiopians to work with determination to ensure that future generations inherit a stronger and more prosperous nation. In his latest interview, the Prime Minister outlined progress and plans under the second phase of the country's corridor development initiative, describing it as the beginning of rebuilding an African city and transforming it into a model of prosperous modernity. We have more on that. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed explained that the government's corridor development projects, which initially focused on Finfinne, the capital city and major regional centers, will be expanded to cities across the country.
እንደሚታወቀው አዲስ አበባ 5 መውጫ በሮች አላት ወደ
Finfinne has 5 main gateways leading to Burayu, Sebeta, Dukam, Legatavo, Nasululta. When we initiated the corridor development project, we began from the city center. At present, we have nearly completed the corridor leading to the Dukam gateway. There are several exciting roads connecting to the Sululta gateway, such as the routes from Arat Kilo via the British Embassy and from Bole via Ambassa Garage, which were previously constructed. Today, we are witnessing the development of an 8-kilometer road corridor from Meskel Square to Megananya, which connect to the Southern Gateway. Out of the 5 gateways, the road to Sululta and the Entoto corridor have already been completed and inaugurated. We have also developed the corridor to Legatavo and Dukam. Our next focus will be on expanding the corridors towards Sebeta and Burayu.
Emphasized that citizens should be prepared to make the necessary sacrifices for growth, modernization, and environmental improvement. Abiy highlighted that nothing can be achieved without effort, and that all citizens are expected to contribute diligently to building a better country for future generations. He noted that significant work has already been done in the capital city, including large-scale tree planting, corridor development, and revitalization of the capital's riversides, and he indicated that even more progress is expected in the coming years.
ዛሬ የምናየው ከሰራናቸው ስራዎች ትንሽ ከበድ የሚለው ነው። ከመስቀል አደባባይ እስከ መገናኛ በጣም ህንጻ የሞላበት ተጠጋግተው ህንጻዎች የተቀመጡበት
The 8-kilometer corridor from Meskel Square to Megananya includes 16 kilometers of pedestrian walkways on both sides, 15 car parking areas, taxi loading zones, and 15 public spaces. Riverside development has also been carried out as part of the project. One of the main challenges during implementation was the limited space available. Despite this, we have successfully completed the work. In the second phase of the corridor development initiative, a total of 8 corridors were planned. Today we have inaugurated the 5th. This leaves only the surveyed corridors and the Riverside project pending. As part of our commitment, we have completed the majority of the work ahead of the new year. The surveyed corridor is nearly ready for inauguration, and the Riverside project is also close to completion, with only a few remaining tasks, primarily related to clearing the area in the George following the end of the rainy season. Overall, we can confidently say that the second phase of the corridor development initiative has been executed more effectively than the first.
The Prime Minister also pointed out the need to address environmental concerns, particularly by improving vehicles that emit excessive pollution. He stressed that Finfinne, the capital city, should be developed into a city suitable for services, visitors, and the financial sector, while also becoming a source of technological innovation. He stated that industries should be gradually be located from the city, and services such as hotels, coffee houses, shopping centers, and hospitals should be expanded to make the capital more attractive for investment and tourism. Abiy concluded by emphasizing that the goal is to create a city where people can work, earn income, and move freely, and he expressed satisfaction with the work completed so far, noting that the public has also responded positively to these initiatives. Ethiopia's Minister of Planning and Development, Fitsum Asafa, said that the upcoming second Afghan Climate Summit, ACS2, is expected to adopt the Addis Ababa Declaration, which will unify Afghan voices and strengthen the continent's climate position at COP30. The second Afghan Climate Summit aims to redefine Africa's aspirations for a climate-resilient and prosperous future. Will take place in Finfinne from September 8 to 10, 2025. Shetu Opsi has more.
Speaking to Ethiopian News Agency, Minister of Planning and Development, Fitsum Asafa, stated that the Finfinne Declaration to be drawn as end of the summit will serve as Africa's common stance of COP30 in Belém, Brazil, and also guide the continent's engagement as the UN General Assembly and the G20 summit. Beyond the declaration, Fitsum added that the summit will host several side events aimed at bringing stakeholders together, mobilizing finance and supporting homegrown climate solutions across African communities.
One of the important things that we expect from the African Climate Summit is the Addis Ababa Declaration. and its contents. The Addis Ababa Declaration will try to bring African voices together, a unified voice, taking Africa's position, climate position, to COP30 Belém. Not only that, before we have the UN General Assembly, we have the G20 summit. So climate is an important thing, and it's a challenge to the economists, but also, as I've said earlier, is an opportunity to act. So it will bring the African voices together. This declaration, which I just mentioned, that's an important outcome that we expect in the Africa Climate Summit.
For Ethiopia, she underlines as event carries special significance. As the diplomatic capital of Africa, Finfinne welcomed thousands of participants, showcasing not only Ethiopia's capacity to host major international conferences, but also its tourism potential, Visum said.
Hosting such discussions would mean Ethiopia would present the challenge that it is facing in terms of climate change, but at the same time it will also give an opportunity for Ethiopia to showcase the climate actions that we are making, from green legacy to our sustainable cities and communities development, to the sustainable green energy development, as well as our food system transformation. So it will give an opportunity to showcase what Ethiopia is doing as an action to curb climate change.
She cited initiatives such as the Green Legacy Program, Sustainable Cities and Communities projects, green energy development, and food system transformation as examples of Ethiopia's concrete contribution to combating climate change. The minister further noted that Africa and other developing regions contribute insignificantly to global emissions, but bear disproportionate burden of climate impacts.
There is always responsibility to the developed countries to really contribute to adaptation and mitigation works in Africa and other continents. But as you rightly mentioned, people are not, or countries are not delivering on their promises. So we'll keep on pushing on these countries, on developed countries, to keep their promises to really contribute to adaptation and mitigation works, and to really make us access climate finance better, cheaper climate finance to work on climate change.
She called for better and more affordable access to climate finance so that African countries can effectively respond to the climate crisis.
Equipped with modern media technologies and competent professionals, OBN has built the capacity to cover regional, continental, and international summits with utmost excellence. Join us as we spotlight the incredible stories that makes our community thrive. From promoting the Oromo Gada system, which is one of the indigenous African democracies, to advocating for the rebirth of Pan-Africanism, OBN has already established a track record of promoting Ethiopia and Africa to the rest of the world. At OBN Horn of Africa, we believe in the power of connection. OBN Horn of Africa, we are more than just news. We are your neighbors, your voice, your connection to what matters most. We don't just report the news, we live it. With you.
Our dedicated team delivers the latest stories that impact our lives.
From local headlines to global events, we bring you the stories that shape our world.
OBN Horn of Africa will bring you latest new style, new format, new content, new presentation in the new Ethiopian New Year 2018.
Join us every day for the latest news that matters to you.
OBN, voice for the people.
Still ahead on OBN Horn of Africa. Minister of Water and Energy, Engineer Abtam Mustafa, says the Green Legacy Initiative is making a significant impact on increasing both ground and surface water resources. The minister highlighted the success of the initiative in recent years, emphasizing its role in mitigating floods and reducing the amount of soil and sediment carried by water. Here is a detail. Speaking to Ethiopian news agency, Minister of Water and Energy, Engineer Abtam Mustafa, highlighted the success of the Green Legacy Initiative in recent years, emphasizing its role in mitigating floods and reducing the amount of soil and sediment carried by water. A recent study evaluating the initiative's effects on water resources found a notable increase in groundwater reserves and rising water levels in major rivers and streams. The study, which focused on river basins in the Hawassa, Abai and Awash areas, confirmed scientifically measurable changes in water availability before and after large-scale seedling planting. In addition to greening the landscape, the Green Legacy Initiative has proven effective in reducing flood risks during the rainy season and promoting groundwater charge. He added that the planted trees have helped rehabilitate degraded areas, minimize flood severity, and significantly contributed to the replenishment of groundwater levels. The minister also cited the revival of Lake Haramaya, once dried up, as a successful example of how green development and environmental protection can restore water sources. Through such efforts, it has become possible to regulate water flow and improve overall water availability. Engineer Abtam further explained that the extensive tree planting under the initiative has played a key role in reducing soil erosion, preventing siltation of dams and rivers, and protecting clean water sources. Our Green Legacy Initiative, which has brought significant success, is an economy in itself, not merely about planting trees. The remarkable increase in Ethiopia's coffee exports in the concluded year, more than ever before, is the result of the Green Legacy Initiative, he said. FAO representative Fariz Mudzi said Ethiopia's historic green legacy is a model initiative for other African countries, combating climate change impacts and ensuring food security. Ethiopia's historic green legacy is a model initiative for other African countries, combating climate change impacts and ensuring food security, FAO representative Fariz Mudzi said in an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency. The representative in Ethiopia noted that preserving and managing trees and other natural resources is essential to benefit generations. She commended the efforts of the government of Ethiopia in terms of planting trees and managing those trees to ensure survival and benefit the people.
It's absolutely essential that the efforts that the government is making in terms of planting massively trees continue to grow. And also, beyond planting, managing those trees to ensure survival, but also to ensure that the people derive a direct benefit. And it's good to see that there's a lot of efforts in planting fruit trees, which ensure that people have food to eat, but also they can sell. It's impressive to hear some of the efforts that ordinary farmers in different parts of Ethiopia are investing in, for example, avocado production and other fruit trees, mangoes, etc.
Stating that the initiative is essential in preserving soil, Mudzi said managing the soil will continue to be source of contributing to production through agriculture. According to her, that does not depend on Africa alone, as the continent contributes comparatively very little to the climate impacts.
As a continent, we need to do more in terms of ensuring that we are not only managing the effects of climate change, but as much as possible, we do what we can to ensure that we prevent those impacts happening. So we need to do a lot more. Of course, I know that it just doesn't depend on Africa alone to do it, because we contribute comparatively very little to the climate impacts that we are seeing, but we are unfortunately at the receiving end. We are much more vulnerable than other places in the world.
Advocating for more funding is critical for Africa to receive the resources that it needs, Zimur said, adding that advocating national endeavors and learning from each other are also essential.
It's good to see the good examples that we see here in Ethiopia, the Green Legacy Initiative being a case in point, where there is massive national investment towards a very clear strategic focus for impact. So if we can learn from each other as African countries to be able to do more and at scale, so that we are not looking at gradual change, but we are looking at transformation.